Welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome to Monday's edition of the dceu and everything else daily. Disclaimer, this is being filmed on Sunday because I'm a day ahead now because my internet is rubbish, so this is what I have to do now. Anyway, there's no news today apart from the fact that the DC Extended Universe is the best franchise. Deal with it. Don't care if you don't agree, you don't like it, unsubscribe, fuck off. Oh, and by the way, Wonder Woman 2017 is the best superhero movie ever made. So they're the facts, but we're not here to debate that today. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate for that, but never mind. It's my opinion, it's my truth. Today we're going to talk about pop culture and the way it's changed, the way we watch it, the way we consume it has changed. Batman vs Superman was really the first time that is an example of, because of the internet, because of Twitter, because of YouTube, everyone had an opportunity to talk about how they felt about that movie. Now, it's interesting because Batman vs Superman and Man of Steel came out at a time when Rotten Tomatoes was still relevant, where the echo chamber was still working. So what's the echo chamber? The echo chamber is the era of IGN and Collider.com and Variety. And all these people, they were relevant. Whatever they said went, whatever they said goes, whatever they said was a fact, and all the shill fans would come out and copy what they said, right? Man of Steel was too violent, too action-packed, not how a Superman film should be, too dark. Batman vs Superman is a terrible film, one of the worst films ever made, so everyone gave it some of that. Now, what did this mean for us who loved Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman? It was very hard, it was very difficult. I remember making a video about Batman vs Superman, how much I loved it, and, throwing back the shade the film got on a YouTube channel that doesn't exist anymore. That video got a lot of views, more views than I've ever had on this current channel, and I wish I could port it over. I don't think I can even find it. Try and find my Batman vs Superman video. It's on another channel. It may exist somewhere out there, and I wasn't called Big Mouth, but have a look for it. It might be under Michael Menas, Mick Menas. Have a look for it. It's somewhere out there. I'm sure the YouTube channel is still somewhere, but I don't use it and I don't know the passwords for it or anything. Anyway, so for those of us who loved Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman, we remained really quiet while the hate engulfed the internet. The Zack Snyder was quiet, the actors were quiet, people like Amy Adams tried. She talked about the fans who did like it. She was talking like that, and Ben Affleck saying, as long as people liked it, some of the people liked it, we're happy. And there was a lot of people who liked both those movies, but the echo chamber was louder than us. But then 2017 came, and something very interesting happened. We had Justice League, and we had Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi. These two films changed everything, and they smashed the echo chamber. It was the moment, The Last Jedi was the moment the fandom menace was born. Now, I used to love the fandom menace. I even kind of coined the phrase that I am a member of the fandom menace, but I was never really a member of the fandom menace. A lot of the stuff they represent is bullshit. They are just there to make money, but they did start from a good place, like all these people do before they're successful on social media. They started from a place where they wanted to break the narrative. And they did. They started to expose Hollywood for what it was. When people were talking negatively about The Last Jedi, creatives and pundits, the echo chamber were telling us, don't listen to them, it's just Russian bots. Even Lucasfilm itself was spraying this narrative. This is proof that maybe Russian bots don't even exist, because the people that were complaining were the Star Wars fans who watched it from when they were kids 30, 40 years ago. But apparently, by these people, by these extremists, these alt-leftists, Star Wars is a children's movie, are children's movies, and they're not for men and women our age. Here's the thing. George Lucas made these films for us for when we were children, but he knew if they stood the test of time, we would love them till the day that we died, and we would pass them on to our children, and their children would pass them on to their children. It's a beautiful thing. So it's about something for everyone, but of course, he made it to kind of get into kids' heads, to try and warn them what can happen when darkness and hatred takes over. It's interesting with creatives like Russell T Davies and George Lucas, how they predict the future. Star Wars was a prediction of Trump, Boris Johnson, and Brexit. But in a more, obviously, in a more over-dramaticized fashion, right? We are where the empire falls now. 57,000 COVID cases a day in the UK from, due to mismanagement. Look what Trump did, his non-actions for COVID. Look what's happened over there. Those two people are Darth Vader, and they have their own Palpatines running them. Very clever people. So what happened when The Last Jedi and Justice League happened? We had this reaction from the fans. And suddenly, and at first it was difficult because people tried to resist what we were saying. They were trying to put us down as ists and isms and trolls and bots. But what happened in the end? It turned around. Past 2 weeks, we've seen something really change in entertainment since, is it Star Wars Theory or Star Wars Explained, cried on a YouTube video seeing Luke Skywalker return in The Mandalorian Season 2 finale. So a member of Lucasfilm posted something on Twitter making fun of this person crying. Now, a few years back, he would have got away with it. In fact, he has got away with it multiple times. But now, something has changed within Lucasfilm and within the movie-going consumer, where we're brave enough to stand up and say, this person is actually the bully and the ist and the ism, not us. This person and these extremists and these old leftists believe that a man crying about a film is something to laugh about. Let me be absolutely clear. Pop culture, movies, TV drama are more than their sum parts to a lot of us. Now, you may think it's pathetic that I live and breathe the DC Extended Universe, but it means something to me. You might like going fishing. You might sit there boring people's pants off about the kind of rods and lines that you use. But to you, it is your whole life, right? It means jack shit to me, but it means everything to you. When Smallville was an active TV show, all I could do is talk about Smallville. I was obsessed. I lived and breathed it. I lived in shared accommodation on my own. I had no fucking money. All my money went on a bit of food and buying the box sets every year. And I used to bore the shit out of people about it. Nobody I knew was interested in Smallville apart from me. And when Smallville first started, I don't know if there was a Twitter. There probably was, but I didn't have access to the internet or Twitter back then. It was only Smallville Season 9 when I got a Twitter account and I called it Smallville Mad. Now that Twitter doesn't exist anymore. So I was obsessed with Smallville. We all have our obsessions. We all have our windmills. What's that bit in Smallville Season 2, Rosetta? When Clark talks to Christopher Reeve's Dr. Virgil Swan, he says, everyone has their windmills, Clark. That's a great point, because everybody does have their windmills. And my windmill might not be your windmill. But if we respect each other's passions, but, we still don't understand them. Why this person is obsessed with this and the other person's obsessed with football, soccer, American football, whatever. These passions, these hobbies, these things that we live and breathe are so important to us. They keep us going. They keep us sane in an insane world. And to make fun of someone because they cried, because of the awesome return of Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian Season 2, shows you where we are as people today. But worse, it shows you where the entertainment industry has gone. It has been invaded by politicians, not storytellers. As I said so many times on this channel, they don't have our passion for storytelling. Imagine that. They don't care. We used to have Francis Ford Coppola, George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, and so many more people who were in the business, not because they were politicians, because they loved storytelling and they wanted to share that passion with the consumer. There was a relationship between consumer, creative and actor, even though all we could do was write letters and telegrams to them, which they always appreciated. Now we have movie Twitter, which has changed everything. There's so many different opinions. Look at the DCEU. Look how polarizing the DCEU is. Some people will tell you it's the worst thing ever. Some people like you will tell you it's the best thing ever. That's opinion. And all opinion can be validated by ourselves. I said on Twitter yesterday, it's not important that you are a legend in other people's minds. It's important that you are a legend in your own mind. I'm a legend in my own mind, but nobody else's mind, and that's fine. I can live with that because I discovered this crest as a very young boy and I've taken it with me all my life, and it means something. As Lois says in BVS, this means something. It did on my world. My world doesn't exist anymore, but our world does exist. And for some of us, this is all that matters. For some of you, it may be Star Wars, it may be Alias, it may be Lost, it could be anything. And I respect you, and I respect what you love, and I would never do it down. But what's happened with the DC Extended Universe is that Marvel is the rich older brother that everybody loves, right? And the DCEU is the thing that everybody keeps on whacking and whacking and whacking. So two things happen if you keep on beating something down. Either it dies, or it gets so angry and so frustrated it becomes a monster that rises up. So from the moment we saw Justice League, we were all... That was the last straw. It's like when Bruce Banner tries not to become the Hulk, but in the end he lets his rage out. This is what happened. But what happened with Justice League is we started with someone like Fiona. Now, Fiona's being accused of many, many things right now. I don't know what's happened. I don't know if Fiona is a racist or not a racist, but I don't care. I genuinely don't care because we're all accused of being ists and isms these days. So I don't know the situation. But I know if someone's made a mistake and said something they shouldn't, that maybe we should give them a pass and maybe they can become better. But I know that Fiona started this whole thing. I know that Zack Snyder views Fiona as a daughter, and I don't think Zack Snyder would like Fiona or dedicate a piece of artwork to Fiona if he didn't see her as a really good person. Because if it wasn't for Fiona, we wouldn't be where we are now. But of course, a lot of things happened. Fiona, the fans, everything, and Zack posting on Vero. The Vero thing is really what got this thing moving after the Wall Street Journal. This is when we became a proper movement. And we won. The moment Zack Snyder's Justice League was announced on HBO Max, the paradigm shift happened. A massive paradigm shift that destroyed the echo chamber of Campia, of IGN, of Collider. They had no power. And then DC Fandom cemented this. This is why they don't like Jason Keeler and they're going around saying he knows nothing about the industry. What they really mean is he doesn't like the old way things used to be done. So the echo chamber was smashed. The echo chamber was smashed again when Luke Skywalker returned in the Mandalorian Season 2 finale, and the echo chamber was smashed beyond repair when Star Wars explained Star Wars theory, whoever he is, cried over the return of Luke Skywalker. This is sending a big message to Disney and Lucasfilm. You see, Disney want to make money from Star Wars. They didn't buy Star Wars to be the MCU's poorer sister. They bought it to make more money than anything in the entertainment industry's ever made. And they thought it was going to be easy. But what happened with The Last Jedi happened because Kathleen Kennedy didn't want to keep Lucas's concepts and dream and legacy alive. She wanted to be political. She wanted alt-left politics in The Last Jedi. So why did Rian Johnson do what he did to Luke Skywalker? Well, I can translate it to an alt-left agenda and tell you what he was trying to do. He was trying to make Luke Skywalker look like this stupid old man, this stupid white old man who's just a shadow of what he used to be, and all he does is drink, and he's pathetic. While Rey is this young, vibrant woman who's superior to Luke. Now, I actually like Rey. I like Daisy Ridley. I'm not angered and as triggered about Rey as most are, and I'd like to see her do something with Star Wars again. I don't even care that they called her Rey Skywalker. I'm totally fine with that. I know many people are not. But the thing is, what he wanted to do is pull Luke's pants down, bend him over, and totally embarrass him. So all the alt-lefts were laughing. They loved this. Look at this man. Look at this white man. He's pathetic, isn't he? And so this was the idea. But what Rian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy didn't kind of think about was the passionate fan base. And they got it. This film made $1 billion, over $1 billion. You can spin it as a success, but this is the film that changed everything. This is the film that killed everybody's love of Star Wars. What had been before, what had gone after it. People just, their hearts were broken. Even the silent majority who weren't talking about it. And as it went on, and the fandom menace posted video after video after video, it became worse. Then Solo: A Star Wars Story was a flop. The first flop in Star Wars history. Even the prequels, where people claim they hated them, made so much money and sold so many toys and merchandise. But Solo was destroyed. A, because nobody asked for it and nobody wanted anyone else but Harrison Ford to play Han. And there was no point to see a Han Solo movie anyway. And because of what happened with The Last Jedi. We were hearing that Rian Johnson was going to get a trilogy. But of course that was never going to happen because Disney want to make money. And The Mandalorian proves that. So now you've got Dave Filoni and you've got Jon Favreau basically running Disney Plus's Star Wars section. So this is now an interesting situation because there are a lot of rumours that they want to course correct the sequel trilogy, and a lot of the fans would love that to be deleted from the timeline. Now, there's very interesting ways of doing it. Now, a lot of people will be triggered if this happens. Now, I believe that Baby Yoda, and I think the Grogu thing is total BS. I think Baby Yoda is Yoda. This is Yoda reborn. I believe this. This is a new story for the new universe that John and Dave are trying to tell. I think we are going to have an Infinity War Endgame kind of build-up. So it's going to be a beautiful thing. And I think that Feige is involved in the background. I think that's how Favreau kind of got involved. So all the efforts now are going back to bring the fans, the hardcore fans, back to Star Wars, because all of a sudden they realise what they didn't realise before, that they need us. They thought, this like Doctor Who under Chibnall, the first day the woman who fell to Earth was going to launch, we have Bradley Walsh, Mandip Gill and Jodie Whittaker in a car laughing and joking. And we have Bradley Walsh. Brad was talking about the new fans. The new fans. Because what they thought they could do is bin us, the hardcore Doctor Who fans, and bringing new kind of younger fans who really would embrace their kind of alt-left messaging. But it didn't happen. The old fans left. This is the key thing with Star Wars as well. The old fans left, but the new fans, enough of the new fans didn't come in, because the new fans are in fact to generational things where fathers and mums and daughters are passing it on to their sons and daughters, right? That's not happening now because of The Last Jedi and you know, the aggressive alt-left messaging that they put in there. And this is what happened with Doctor Who under Chibnall. People just left. So, for example, they did nearly 5 million viewers for the latest episode, Revolution of the Daleks, which I reviewed at the end of yesterday's dceu and everything else daily. Go check it out. But I think it wouldn't have even reached nearly 5 million if Captain Jack, aka John Barrowman, wasn't in it. It was that kind of, because I think they're doing about 3.5 to 4 million. It's still solid. It's not disastrous. But when you think about the big numbers Doctor Who used to do under Russell T Davies and the multiple awards his show won every year, there's a problem now. I actually think the Timeless Child thing is unique, but there's no question it is drowned and it is seething and it is soaking with SJW alt-left propaganda. And there's no question about that. Despite the fact it breaks canon and he's got to explain it all, and he has got to explain it all. Personally, I think we're looking at multiverse Gallifrey here. I don't think it's Earth 1 Gallifrey. I think it's another Gallifrey. I think Jodie, the way you could delete her from the timeline, by the way, I'm not saying that they should, that they wanted to. She could be kind of a multiverse version of the Doctor, and something happens so it looks like she regenerated from Capaldi. But in fact, you could even have Dr. Ruth, played by Jo Martin, of being the real incarnation after Peter Capaldi. There's clever ways of doing it, and that's how she could be. But we will see. Maybe he's kind of covering himself with this. We will see. So you've seen in Doctor Who that they can't sell their merchandise for the new Doctor or for the Chibnall era. So my suggestion there, like John and Dave, Doctor Who has its own John and Dave, and that's Russell T Davies and Stephen Moffat. I think if these two both took over Doctor Who with immediate effect as soon as possible, as soon as they want Chibnall not to do it anymore, I think what you would do, you would have a balance, the best of both mentalities. So, Chibnall's, 7B onwards was problematic, but his first 2 seasons were pretty cool, right? And then you've got Russell T Davies, who's really the calm, cool, and, collected one. He's got the imagination, he's got the talent, he's got the skills. So, and basically with 2 of them there, they could go off, basically ease the workload on each other and do their own projects at the same time. But Doctor Who desperately needs Russell T Davies and Stephen Moffat right now. So what you've seen is, and what I'm talking about here, is a paradigm shift, both within the DC Extended Universe and Star Wars. And we can go even back to the 2016 all-female Ghostbusters movie. Do you know my opinion on that movie? If it wasn't a Ghostbusters film, it's quite an entertaining, good film. I find it entertaining. I kind of half like it. It's not a classic. It's not a memorable film. It's nowhere near as good as the first Ghostbusters. They had good talent in it. Paul Feig is a really talented guy. But again, the SJW alt-left messaging, having a good-looking male secretary to make a point. By the way, the original secretary wasn't exactly a 6-foot model, was she? In fact, she was a character actor who pulled off that character. Not because she was a beautiful woman and she was attractive in her own right, of course, but her breasts weren't, falling on the table or anything, were they? But they were trying to make a point. They were trying, and, they were going with the girl power thing, instead of just letting the film do its thing. If they kept their mouths shut and made a proper female movie, or they had 2 female Ghostbusters and 2 male Ghostbusters, they would have revitalized the franchise. But these politicians in the industry right now don't want to revitalize the franchises that we grew up with. They just want to stick their messaging in it. It's not about making good movies. It's about messaging. And what Justice League, the reaction to Justice League and The Last Jedi did was destroy the echo chamber. Because the echo chamber before Justice League and The Last Jedi was doing very well. The echo chamber convinced everyone to make The Force Awakens a $2 billion movie, and so on and so forth. And no one was getting past the echo chamber. But once we had Justice League and The Last Jedi, and the fans stood up, fans became famous on YouTube because of this situation. Now, some people get more views and subscribers than John Campion. Isn't that amazing? Because John Campion is part of the problem. Some of the stuff he says is pretty logical, but unfortunately, he as well can be very, very toxic. So people will, now the fans know that they can stand up to be counted. It's like what happened with Sonic the Hedgehog, with the CG for Sonic. The fans stood up, they said they didn't like it in a very constructive way. The guy making the film said, you know what, we're going to delay, we're going to take a step back. When you look at the CG now in the actual film, it's a beautiful film with great CG. It's a great Sonic movie, isn't it? Because a filmmaker and the consumer worked together instead of working against each other. And this is what Justice League and The Last Jedi was. It was about the industry working against its customer. Imagine being in a situation where you don't want older white males to watch and support your content because you want to bring other people to it. That's not good business. That's business suicide. But they don't care about business. These ideologues, these alt-lefts, this is who's in the industry right now. But slowly but surely, the studios will drive these people out now because they realise it's not good for business. You see, something else that's changed the paradigm is the pandemic. The pandemic has stopped this industry from making the money they were making through theatres. So they need us on their side, and they need to meet us at least halfway. And this is why you're seeing what happening with the Snyderverse. The Snyderverse will be brought back. Zack Snyder's Justice League will be successful, as HBO Max have already said. It's already been a success with the subscribers that they've had. So all of a sudden, from this echo chamber, the fans stood up and were counted. And what a beautiful thing it is to feel like you matter and you count. Because this era of the industry is being brought down. Quite right too. Otherwise, the entertainment industry is just going to die. This is what we need. The fans need to have a voice, but also we need people in the industry that are passionate about making good stories. I was watching Con Air earlier, and they had a Latino woman playing one of the officers on the plane, right? She's a really good actress. She is brilliant. She's a strong female. I don't remember her coming out, or critics or pundits saying, oh my God, how great representation is in this movie, because this is not what we did back then. But we could see it. She's there. She's wonderful. And it is great representation because she really is a strong female character that comes together with the white lead and they unite. Isn't that a great message? Unification between genders and, people from different backgrounds. Isn't that beautiful? This is the thing that exposes these ideologues, because it was already there, but done in a much better way that they could ever do, because they don't care about entertaining people. And we have stood up and we have fought back. Now, the crimes of the old Warner Brothers regime weren't about alt-left alt-left politics. It was about trying to catch up to Disney. That's all it was about. They wanted to speed the situation. Speed it up. So that is, the quality's gone. Zack Snyder's vision's gone. We just want to be like them. We just want everyone to smile and the colours to be bright. And Justice League exposed that narrative. Now, I'm actually re-watching the DC Extended Universe, and unfortunately, I have to use Justice League as a placeholder. So I'm going to watch it, and I'll talk about that movie, maybe on tomorrow's DCEU and everything else daily, and tell you what I liked about that movie and what I didn't like about that movie. I mainly liked the film. It's obviously not the Snyderverse, not what we wanted, but there are good things in it. My issue with that film is they rushed so much that the CGI and the artwork of the film was ruined, but they cut so much stuff just because they wanted a happy clappy 2-hour movie, and they were punished for that. They tried to pull the wool over our eyes and pretend that was still Zack Snyder's vision. For fuck's sake, it still says directed by Zack Snyder, which it wasn't. But we stood up. We wasn't fooled. And now Warner Media, not Warner Brothers, but Warner Media is run by a new company, a good company, a company that has a history of listening to its customer. And that's beautiful. And that's the future, my friends, because entertainment has changed. And they can't get away with anything right now or anymore because of the internet. We've got the magnifying glass. These things are analysed beyond analysed. This is why there's a mixed response to Wonder Woman 1984. Because as I said, on the top of the show, Wonder Woman 2017 is a fucking sonnet. It's a beautiful film written by Jason. The story was by Jason Folks. Alan Heinberg and Zack Snyder. And as I've said before, some of the sequences were actually directed by Zack as well. And Patty was like basically a director on the set doing a director's job, but she had no authority over the piece. Zack Snyder and those people made one of the best comic book movies ever. I love that film. I cry after it. I want to cuddle everyone after that film. Gal Gadot has become the Christopher Reeve of the 21st century. I fucking love that woman's interpretation of Wonder Woman. It's full of love and compassion. And Patty exudes that as well. Mostly, unfortunately, she lost some of her compassion with Wonder Woman 84. She had no love for the 80s. She didn't show the 80s any love. She basically thinks that all men in the 80s were disrespectful to women, saying, all right, darling and sweetheart. Of course that was going on. But we all wasn't like that. Of course, in 1984, I was a young boy. But at the end of the day, no era is perfect. And you're never going to make an era perfect. But mainly, I think that Wonder Woman 84 is a solid movie. It's not a terrible movie. But come on. If they, for Wonder Woman, the sequel to Wonder Woman to be as good or better than the first one, then you needed, I don't even know how to say his name, Jason Folks or Foucault, or whatever he is, right? And, Alan Heinberg and Zack Snyder, for Zack to be running this film again. And that was never going to happen because off the work that Zack mainly did, Patty Jenkins got all the credit. So she was given free rein to do what she wants. And now Warner Media, no, they're not going to let her do that again. I suspect if she is going to stay on board this, she'll be more of a director and maybe a co-writer on this film with Zack Snyder. Maybe returning, I don't know. But I think what this has done, more than anything, any fan campaign is, when you look at Wonder Woman 2017, run and led by Zack Snyder, and when you look at Wonder Woman 84, well, it tells you that Zack Snyder actually does know what he's doing, and maybe he should have more authority over this franchise, over this DC live-action universe. Wonder Woman 2017 compared to Wonder Woman 84 exposes the narrative again. Zack Snyder does want to talk about certain things that are happening in our real world, but in a clever, entertaining, beautiful, artistic format. That's the difference between him and these politicians in Hollywood right now. Zack Snyder will be remembered as a great, unique artist. Most of these bums working in the industry today, these politicians, will be forgotten very, very quickly. Comment down below, like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow with even more DCEU and everything else daily. See you again soon.